Hello mga Ka-MathWiz! Welcome to Math Tutorial Made Easy. So for today's video, what we will do is to find the vertical and horizontal asymptotes of a rational function. But before that, let us define what is a rational function. A rational function is a quotient of two polynomials and can be written as f of x is equals to the ratio of g of x and h of x, wherein g of x and h of x are both polynomial, and h of x should not be equal to 0. Now, this is the graph of a rational function. So as we can see, a rational function is divided by the asymptotes. Those are the vertical asymptotes and the horizontal asymptotes. What is vertical asymptote? When we say vertical asymptotes, those are vertical lines that corresponds to the zeros of the denominator of a rational function. So as we can see, those are lines that divides the graph of a rational function vertically. So those are vertical lines or broken lines. Okay, next, horizontal asymptotes. When we say horizontal asymptotes, those are horizontal lines that the graph of a function approaches as x tends to positive infinity or negative infinity. So based on the graph, it is horizontal line or horizontal broken line that separates or that divides the graph of a rational function. Now, this time what we will do is to identify where can we plot the vertical asymptotes and horizontal asymptotes. Okay, so these are the procedures and how we are gonna find the vertical asymptotes. Step 1. First of all, what you will do is to set the denominator equals to 0. So what we will do is to equate the denominator to 0. And after that, we need to solve for the value of x. Okay, now let us try this one. Example number 1. So what we will do is to find the vertical asymptote of the function 1 all over x. So again, this is the first step. Set the denominator equals to 0. So let us rewrite so that it is clear for us, because there are some students don't know what is the numerator and what is the denominator. So based on 1 over x, our numerator is 1 and our denominator is x. And so therefore, since our denominator is x, we need to equate it to 0. Therefore, the equation now is x is equals to 0. And after we set the denominator equals to 0, then what we will do is to solve for the value of x. And solve for the value of x. So x is equals to 0. Now, do we need to solve? There is no need to solve because the value of x now is equals to 0. Therefore, since x is equals to 0, our vertical asymptote is at x is equals to 0. So if we are going to graph that one, so just like what I told you, it is a vertical line, broken line from x is equals to 0. And so the graph looks like that, the red one. And then the actual graph of the rational function is the green one. These are the procedures and how we solve or find the horizontal asymptote. First, we need to compare the degree of numerator and the denominator. So after we compare the degree of numerator and denominator, follow the theorem on horizontal asymptote of a rational function. So with this guide, we are able to identify where can we find the horizontal asymptote. So we have three. First of all, ax to the m power all over bx to the n power. So we make sure that axm is the degree of the numerator and bxn is the degree of the denominator. So after that, we need to compare m and n. So those are the exponent of the degrees. So if m is less than n, then y is equals to 0. So sabi natin, kapag ang exponent ng m ay mas maliit sa n, the horizontal asymptote is found at 0. Y is equals to 0. Now, second theorem, axm all over bxm, if the exponent of the degrees of numerator and denominator are equal, say for example, the m is equals to n, then y is equals to a over b. So a is the numerical coefficient of the degree of the numerator, and then b is the numerical coefficient of the degree of the denominator. So what we will do is to get that one and then divide it. Then we can find the horizontal asymptote. And then last but not the least, if m is greater than n, then there is no horizontal asymptote because it has oblique asymptote. So possible na slant siya, hindi siya horizontal. Okay, now let us try. So we will be using same example, but in this case what we will do is to find the horizontal asymptote of 1 over x. Okay, again we follow compare the degree of the numerator and the denominator. Yan, 1 over x numerator. So ang numerator natin, ano bang degree niya? Kapag ka constant. Kapag ka constant, the degree or the exponent is always 0. Kapag ka constant, kapag number lang, walang kasamang variable. Okay? Next, denominator. So as we can see, x is our denominator. The exponent of denominator is equals to 1. Now, after that, we need to compare, right? Compare the exponent, 0 and 1. So in this case, we follow what rule? What theorem? The first theorem, second theorem, or the third theorem? So 0 is less than 1, right? So therefore, we follow the first theorem. So if m is less than n, then y is equals to 0. Therefore, our horizontal asymptote is find or can be found at y is equals to 0. Ayan. So that is the broken line. Horizontally, yan po yung ating horizontal asymptote. Okay. So if you're going to graph this, so this is the how it looks like. Yan. So this one is the vertical asymptote wherein we can find it at 0, and then our horizontal asymptote wherein we can find also at 0. Okay, now let us proceed with our second example. Okay, so what we will do is to find the horizontal and vertical asymptote of the function 1 all over x minus 3. Okay, so let us find first the vertical asymptote. Actually, you can decide which one goes first, but for me, I want to solve the vertical asymptote. Okay, first of all is that we need to set the denominator equals to 0. So we need to equate the denominator, but first let us choose which one is the numerator, which one is the denominator. And in this case, our x minus 3 will serve as our denominator. Now, since we already found out which one is denominator. What we will do is to equate it to 0. That's why our equation now is x minus 3 equals to 0. And then we follow the second step. What is the second step? The second step is to solve for the value of x. So in here, what we will do is just to equate it to 0, and afterwards we add both sides by add positive 3 by 3 to cancel out negative 3, or in short, para shortcut daw, although wala siyang word, transpose negative 3. And if you're going to transpose it, it becomes positive 3. That's why the value of x is equals to 3. Since x is equals to 3, therefore we can find our vertical asymptote at x is equals to 3. So if we're going to graph that one or to plot that vertical asymptote, we can find it at x, which is equals to 3. That one, that broken line vertically. And so that red one. Okay, next, since we are done finding the vertical asymptote, let us try to find the horizontal asymptote. Okay, so again, we need to follow procedures. We're gonna find the horizontal asymptote of 1 all over x minus 3. So again, we need to compare the degree of the numerator and the denominator. Okay, so 1 is our numerator, wherein, just like what I've told you, if it is a constant, the exponent is always 0. Okay, next, denominator. So as we can see, our degree is x, wherein the exponent is equals to 1, first degree, right? Now, after we identify their degree, what we will do is to compare the degree. So as we can see, m is less than n. Ayan. So, sundan lang natin yung pattern or yung theorem. What are we going to use? The first one, the second one, or the third one? Yes. We need to use the first one, wherein m is less than n. And if m is less than n, therefore, our horizontal asymptote is found as or at y is equals to 0. So if we're going to plot it, that's how it goes. Yan. So yun po yung horizontal broken line. Okay, this is the graph if you're gonna combine the horizontal and the vertical asymptotes. So this one is the vertical asymptotes, wherein we can find it at x equals to 3, and our horizontal asymptote, wherein we can find it at y is equals to 0. Okay, now let us now proceed with example number 3. So again, we need to find the horizontal asymptote and the vertical asymptote of the function x plus 3 all over x minus 2. Yan, medyo pahirap na ng pahirap ang ating gagawin. So again, we follow the certain procedures. First is to set the denominator equals to 0. So again, we need to identify which one is numerator, which one is the denominator. Yan. So in here, our denominator is x minus 2. And that serves as our denominator. So since x minus 2, we need to equate it to 0. Therefore, our equation now is x minus 2 equals to 0. And then, afterwards, we equate it. We now solve the value of x, which is x minus 2 equals to 0. We need to add both sides, left hand side plus 2, and then right hand side plus 2, or just transpose it. So as we can see, from negative 2 it becomes positive 2. So x is equals to 2. Now, since we already solved the value of x, therefore we can say that the vertical asymptote of this function is at x is equals to 2. So if you're going to plot it on our graph, this is how it goes. So the vertical line, broken line, is at 2, right? And then if we are gonna find the horizontal asymptote of this function, x plus 3 all over x minus 2, again, we follow the procedure. Compare the degree of the numerator and the denominator. Ayan. So, as we can see, the degree here of the numerator is x, wherein the exponent is 1, or the first degree. And then, the denominator here naman is, find, as we can see, x is the degree, wherein it is at first degree. Yan. N is equals to 1. Now, again, we are going to compare the value of m and n. So, what do you think is the theorem we are going to use? Is it the first one, the second one, or the third one? Okay, m is equals to n, as we can see, because they have same value, 1 and 1. Therefore, we use the second theorem, wherein what we will do is to solve for y is equals to a over b. So just like I told you, a is the numerical coefficient of numerator, or degree of the numerator, and b is the numerical coefficient of the denominator. So let us try to solve. Yan. So our a is equals to 1. Don't forget, it's not the degree. It is the numerical coefficient of the highest degree of numerator. And then it is the b naman is the highest, or numerical coefficient of the highest denominator. Okay. Highest degree, rather. Therefore, since a is equals to 1 and b is equals to 1, therefore 1 divided by 1 is equals to 1. Then we can say that y is equals to 1. The graph, or the plot of the horizontal asymptote, is found at y is equals to 1. And so as we can see, those broken lines is plotted on y is equals to 1. So this is the graph of the equation, the ratio of x plus 3 and x minus 2. So this one is the vertical asymptotes, wherein we can find it at 2, x is equals to 2, and our horizontal asymptote is find at y is equals to 1. Okay, that's how it goes. Now let's try to solve the fourth example. So kanina kasi yung ating numerical coefficient ay 1, 1 lang. So ngayon lagyan natin ng bago. Yan. So first, again, same procedure. Find the horizontal asymptote and vertical asymptote of 6x plus 1 all over 2x plus 1. Okay. Again, first, set the denominator equals to 0. What we will do is to set first the denominator. So the equation must be 2x minus 1, because that is our denominator. So therefore, if we are going to equate it into 0, 2x minus 2 is equals to 0. Yan. And then we follow the the second procedure wherein we need to solve for the value of x. And so in solving 2x minus 2 equals to 0, you can watch the video so that you will be guided. Okay, so 2x minus 2 is equals to 0. We need to transpose or to add both sides by 2. So that negative 2 will be cancelled out. Okay. Therefore, 2x is equals to 2. Since x is not yet isolated, may kasama pa siyang 2, we need to divide it by 2. Now, so whatever you did on the left side will be done on the right side. Okay? So, kung dinivide mo siya ng 2 sa left side, magdi-divide ka rin ng 2 sa right side. And then, 2 divided by 2 is cancelled out. Matitira na lang is x is equals to 2 divided by 2 is equals to 1. Therefore, the answer is x is equals to 1. Yan. Since x is equals to 1, our vertical asymptote is found at x is equals to 1. If you're going to graph it, this is how it goes. The value of the graph is plotted at x is equals to 1. Let us find the horizontal asymptote of the equation. 6x plus 1 all over 2x minus 2. So again, we follow the steps, which is to compare the degree of the numerator and the denominator. So as we can see, the degree of the numerator is 6x, or in the first degree. That's why m is equals to 1. At the same time, our denominator, the degree is 2x, wherein it is in the first degree. The highest degree is 2x. The degree is 1. Yan. So as we can see, m is equals to 1 and n is equals to 1. Therefore, the theorem that we are going to use is the second theorem. Okay. So if m is equals to n, then y is equals to a over b. So we all know that a of our degree 6x is equals to 6, and then the degree or the numerical coefficient of the degree 2x is equals to 2. Therefore, 6 divided by 2 is equals to 3. Yan. So therefore, since the value of y is equals to 3, therefore our horizontal asymptote is found at the y is equals to 3. Yan yung broken line dito. Nakulay po lang figure na makikita ninyo. Okay. Now, if we're gonna combine, this is the graph of this equation, 6x plus 1 all over 2x minus 1. Ayan. So, again, this one is the vertical asymptote wherein we can find it at 1. X is equals to 1. And then our horizontal asymptote is found at 3. So, y is equals to 3. Ayan. Okay, try nating hirapan pa. Let us now proceed with our example number 5. So again, we need to find the vertical and horizontal asymptote. So in this case, our equation is fx is equals to 10 all over x squared minus 9. Okay. So again, we need to set the denominator equals to 0, right? So our denominator here is x to the second power minus 9. Yan. So yan yung i-equate natin sa 0. Therefore, if you're gonna equate it, x squared minus 9 is equals to 0. And then we solve for the value of x. If you will observe, we can factor the equation using the difference of a square. Why? Because as we can see, x squared is perfect square and 9 is also a perfect square, which is 3 to the second power, right? So therefore, if the rule of square of the difference is to copy the square root of x squared and then copy the square root of 9 and then just change the sign. So make it positive and the other one is negative. So minus and plus 3. Yan. And then we solve x plus 3 or equate it by 0. At the same time, x minus 3, we equate it by 0. Yan. So same procedure, x plus 3 equals to 0. What we will do is to transpose 3. That becomes x is equals to negative 3. And then on the other hand, x minus 3 equals to 0. We transpose negative 3 and it becomes x minus x is equals to 3. So don't forget there is no such word transpose. We just use this for discussion purposes. What you will do is just to add or subtract on the left side or on the hand side. So just watch the video in solving this one. Okay. And so since we have two value for x, therefore we can say that we have two asymptotes here. So one is at x minus 3 and the other is x is equals to 3. Ayan. So if you will take a look at the graph, dalawa yung kanyang vertical asymptote. Ayan. Isa sa negative 3 at isa sa positive 3. Okay. Now, since we are done with the vertical asymptote, let us try to answer naman the horizontal asymptote of the equation. And actually, by just looking at its degree for in just a second, alam na natin where are we gonna put or where does the horizontal asymptote lies. Diba? By using this technique. So just be used to the theorems, mas madali nyo siyang masosolve. Compare the degree of the numerator and the denominator. So as we can see, just like what I've told you, if it is a constant, the degree is 0. And then if x squared naman, the degree is second power. Ayan. That's why our n is equals to 2. Now, as we can see, kung memorize nyo na yung ating theorems, alam na natin agad kung saan nakaposition yung ating horizontal asymptote. Since m is less than 0, therefore we can say that our asymptote or horizontal asymptote is found at y is equals to 0. Yan. So, bali ganito yung itsura niyan. And then if we are going to graph it or we are going to combine the vertical and horizontal asymptote, ganito yung magiging itsura niya. Ayan. We have two asymptotes. We have two vertical asymptotes. It is at 3 and at positive 3 and negative 3. And then our horizontal asymptote is at 0. Because we all know that m is less than n. Ayan. That's why it's 0. Okay. Next example. Might be the last example. Example number 6. So, again, yun, medyo hinirapan natin ng konti. So, nagbigay pa tayong another example na makakover yung last theorem. Ayan. So, let us try. So, find the vertical and horizontal asymptote of this equation. So, 2x squared minus 5x minus 3 all over x minus 3. So, again, we follow the same step or procedure in finding the vertical asymptote. First of all, we set the denominator equals to 0, wherein in this case, our denominator is equals to x minus 2. Yan. So, x minus 2, equate natin sa 0. X minus 2 is equals to 0. Ayan. And then afterwards, we solve for the value of x. So, we need to add both sides by positive 2 to cancel out negative 2. Ayan. So, you can watch the video so you are guided with the solution. Ayan. Kapag hindi tayo sanay mag-solve, pag nakikita lang natin using PowerPoint. Okay, next. Since x is equals to 2, again, we all know that our vertical asymptote is located at x is equals to 2. Ayan. So, if you're going to take a look, ganito lang itsura niyan. Ayan. And then, since nakuha na natin yung vertical asymptote, what we will do is, again, to locate or to find the horizontal asymptote. Ang tanong, meron ba? Ayan. So, let us try. So to find the horizontal asymptote, again, we need to compare the numerator or the degree of the numerator and the degree of the denominator. Yan. So after we compare, we try to locate which theorem are we going to use. So as we can see, the numerator or the degree of the numerator is 2. It is because of the exponent, not the numerical coefficient. Huh? Make it clear that it is on the exponent. Ayan. Okay. Which is equals to 2. Therefore, m is equals to 2. And then, our denominator is x. So, first degree siya. That's why our n is equals to 1. Now, again, paulit-ulit na pagko-compare ng ating degrees. So, as we can see, pagka-compare natin, tingnan natin, what is the theorem? Is it the first one, the second one, or the third one? So, alin bang mas malaki? Yung m or yung n? Yung m. That is why m is greater than n. So which theorem is that? The first one, the second one, or the third one? It is the third one. Ayan. So since it is the third one, there is no horizontal asymptote. That's why oblique asymptote yung ating asymptote sa kanya. Slant siya. The graph of 2x to the second power minus 5x minus 3 all over x minus 2 is like this one. So, as we can see, meron lang siyang vertical asymptote. Okay? So, this one is the vertical asymptote wherein it is located at x is equals to 2. And then there is no horizontal asymptote. Yan. That's all for today. Thank you.